Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the idea of why it's so important to take action. I made a video about 2 days ago talking about, one of the series of sacrifices and the closest I've ever been in my eyes to potentially losing it all and stuff like that. And I got so much positive feedback in the idea of a lot of people relating to being in a position where they're so diversified right now that they're kind of at a make it or break it moment. I wanted to make this video in response to that, but talking a little bit more on why it's so important for those action takers. I think one of the biggest and best qualities that I have as an entrepreneur is being able to identify an opportunity and to not take no for an answer and to be empowered to take action. I want to give you a perfect example of this, not even just about myself and the different markets that I invest in, but there's this individual that I met and I came across about maybe 2-3 months ago. His name is John Danes. The really cool thing about this kid is that he's 18 or 19 years old, super young, super motivated, little entrepreneur. And the thing that I liked most about this kid is that he was so out there. He's so well spoken. He had, I think, a little bit less than 1,000 followers on Instagram when I first came across him. He would tag me all the time on Instagram. I wouldn't see it too often, but Justin, who's my partner for TechBud Solutions, brought him up to me and kind of introduced me to him and showed me this video that he tagged me in. And he's someone that's super well spoken, super out there, and 100% because he's so well spoken and so out there, that could really be a turnoff for some people that are not in a position to be motivated, or it could be super empowering for people that are in a position that really want to make things happen. And the thing that I absolutely love about John Danes is I reached out to him. I told him that I'd fly him out from, if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee to Arizona for a couple of days to hang out with me and the TechBuds team. He had this podcast that he recently started, and he was doing decent with it, if I'm not mistaken. But the thing that I appreciated so much about this individual is when I invited him, right? I invited him. I had over 400,000 subscribers. I had I think a little bit over 70 to 80,000 followers on Instagram. It was more about the connections, right? I think that was actually the first podcast I ever spoke on. The really cool thing that I liked about John Danes is he came to visit, super nice kid, amazing guy, and he resonated very well with our team. The thing that I was so intrigued by was after he left here at the TechBud Solutions house and went back to Tennessee, he started reaching out to a bunch of my friends, right? So because I'm known within the kind of entrepreneur and those the millennial investors, he reached out to buddies of mine that had also followings like Austin Zabak, Jet Set Fly, a bunch of different people that were well known within the social media entrepreneurship niche. And a lot of you guys might be well, that's what anybody would do. And this is the whole premise of this video. John Danes has this drive to be successful. I know that there would be so many other people that I could have invited that barely just started their podcast. They would have interviewed me and would have simply gone back. He knew that because of the networking capabilities that I and my connections that I had access to, he didn't ask me for any assistance. He used me as a lighthouse to be able to leverage his podcast and his interview with me to my friends that are also doing well in different niches and different markets. After that, he interviewed so many different entrepreneurs that, if I'm not mistaken, he is one of the top 100 podcasts on iTunes. And on top of that, he's done interviews with top entrepreneurs within overall all social media, and even went live with Grant Cardone on Instagram. Again, the whole premise of this kind of video is to talk about and to differentiate yourself from two sets of people. There's an individual that I could have invited that, yes, he had a podcast, he would have interviewed me, I would have promoted it, that podcast would have done well, great, moved on. But John Danes just was not, in a sense, satisfied with that. He was extremely grateful, but just like we've said it multiple times, there's a difference from being grateful and a difference from being satisfied. He was extremely grateful for the opportunity that I presented. But he was someone that was so driven that used me as a lighthouse, rightfully so, to leverage his podcast with me to take advantage of other opportunities to put him to a next level. And the reason that I'm saying this is because that best practice that he has of taking action is something that will set him apart in the future, just like many of you. One of the things that I want to talk about as well is that he was like at a party with a bunch of influencers, and he said that so many people that were verified and just so well known and making so many different connections. He sent me a text message, and I just remember him saying that like he can't thank me enough for the opportunity that I allowed him to have. All this stuff about like if it wasn't for me, this would have never been possible, and that's 100% not true. Like I said, I could have invited any individual out there to do a podcast with me, and if that individual was not someone that was driven, self-sufficient, and structured enough to take advantage of other opportunities, what John Danes did is completely different than what a normal kid his age would have done. His best practice is that he was someone that took action, and he put himself in that position to level up in a sense. And it was because of his hard work, his nonstop ongoing drive that put him in that position where he was then able to go live on Instagram with Grant Cardone, or to interview people that are well known in various different markets. And that's the beautiful thing about networking. There's so many people that are going to make excuses on why I'm in my position that I am, why John Danes is in his position that he is, and why maybe someone becomes a millionaire by 17. There's always going to be scapegoats, there's always going to be excuses. All I'm trying to say is that people are so opinionated, and regardless of what it is that they say, at the end of the day, all that matters is your actions. And if there's a reason behind your action, and you believe that there is something that you can do to better your life and move you forward, then why not do it? Is it because you're scared of what your friends are going to think? How many of you guys are trying to get your real estate license? How many of you guys are trying to get started and invest in the stock market? Maybe starting your own drop shipping store, Shopify store? There's so many different outlets out there, but I can promise you that there are probably some friends that are going to bring you down. There's in my opinion, two different types of friends. Those that empower you and those that make fun of you for trying something new. But again, it's I'm a true believer in having a 9-to-5. I mean, I had a 9-to-5 until I was, well, not really, I wasn't full-time, but I had a regular job. I worked at a telecommunications store up to a point where, I was doing well enough already. I was 22 years old, so that was just 2 years ago. I had 4 houses, I had my McLaren MP4 12C, but the reason that I was so empowered to have my job was because of how it allowed me to qualify for more real estate properties. I was someone that always wanted to have that stable income to be able to qualify, because I knew as an entrepreneur it would be much more difficult for me and with tax purposes to be able to qualify for those specific properties. Again, I didn't care about what other entrepreneurs were saying about me. I didn't care about what my other friends were saying about me, because all I knew was that I understood what it was that I was doing. I was taking steps forward, and it was because of the goal that I had in mind. A lot of you guys have a goal of being able to provide a better future for your future family, to maybe help out your parents and have them, be able to retire and live financially free. Maybe it's for those that you love, right? And for you not to have to no longer struggle or worry about paying rent. Whatever the case may be, we all have different drives, we all have different passions. They don't have to make sense to each and every single one of us. As long as it makes sense to you, and as long as you have a passion for something and you have a roadmap, or you build a roadmap on how to get there, don't be afraid to take action. Because I think that one of the most fearful things out there is, just imagine if John Danes took advantage of the opportunity of having me on his podcast, but shortly after that didn't take action in reaching out to different people. What he did, you guys might say, is very basic, it's very elementary. Anybody would have done that? No. Not anybody would be in a position to take action nonstop. I'm sure he was told no multiple times, but he just continued to not give up. That's what separates people from those that are successful and those that aren't successful. Yes, it does suck when you are rejected, but it feels so good when that one opportunity presents itself and you're able to actually take action. And that's the premise of this video, is to be empowered to be different. We all have our own quirks, we all are wired in different ways, and that's okay. We all see value in different ways, and the beautiful thing about that is that our road to success doesn't have to be perfect. There's been multiple times I talked about taking advantage of the opportunities with the condos, right? Taking advantage of the opportunities with the cars that I was investing in. Taking advantage of the opportunities of wanting to learn more about the stock market. If I did not take those opportunities, I would not be where it is that I am today. And moving forward, if I'm aware and I'm exposed to an opportunity, then why not simply take it? It's as simple as that. So you can make any excuse out there on why you can't, why they did, and why it's not fair. But at the end of the day, no one cares. It's up to you to put yourself in a position and to get to a point where it is that you want to be. But as long as you have a passion for it, in my honest opinion, I think that passion can help you overcome those obstacles as long as you have that stability already in mind. So for me, I was pursuing different passions that I had, but with the understanding that I was still going to school full time at ASU. And on top of that, I still have my normal job that allowed me to stay afloat financially. And again, that was my map to success. There's people that don't need to worry about having a normal job and experience a form of success at a much earlier age. There's also people that have to work a lot harder and are in a position where they have to have a normal 9 to 5, and it's more difficult for them to pursue their side passions. We're all in different levels, but again, it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you end. And again, just enjoy the journey. Another perfect example of this is, I'm known for someone who invests in the stock market. You guys know that I have my free group, TechButt Solutions. We're the largest group out there on Facebook. We have a little bit over 191,000 members within our free Facebook group. And I came across this kid named Will, right? He's, if I'm not mistaken, 19 or 20 years old. And he was someone that was so structured, so driven, and he learned how to trade on the Robinhood application consistently without my Learn Plan Profit course. And the beautiful thing about that is that, again, my course is not the only way on how to be successful. There's so many different outlets and roads to success. Now, there's another beautiful example of a guy that we call Billy the Kid. Billy the Kid went from being in debt to now, if I'm not mistaken, having a little bit over $10,000 in his savings account. He has a beautiful family, and he's in a position every single week where he's just so happy, and he messages me of how much and how blessed he is, on a weekly basis. And it's just understanding that, regardless of the monetary aspect, that understanding that there's no perfect roadmap to success. Just don't be afraid to take action because of the fear of potentially failing. Thank you guys again so much for your time. For those that follow me and those that are part of Learn Plan Profit and TechButt Solutions, I close a day a little bit over $500. You guys can check that out based off of my Instagram posts. Had a lot of fun. The market has been very slow lately in comparison to how I was doing during November and December. Natural gas just isn't as volatile as it has been. So I kind of just stepped away after closing a little bit over $500 profit. And I'm really excited to see if we can close Friday on a green note, since I'm, haven't had the best track record on Fridays when it comes down to trading. But again, ultimately, thank you guys again so much for your time. Continue working hard, continue following dreams, let your passion be what drives your success. I hope I earned your thumbs up in this video. Feel free to share this video with someone that you think that can benefit from it. If you guys would like to stay connected, we do run the largest YouTube channel for those who invest in the stock market, and that's not the only market that I invest in, so be sure to click that subscribe button and stay connected. If you guys want to join our free Facebook group with over 191,000 members, be sure to click that first link in the description to stay connected. I wish you guys an amazing Valentine's Day. Wish you guys an amazing rest of your week. Hope you guys kill it this 2019, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.